session. So on the mic, it's me and Aditya Sarkar. We
I've
welcome.
got one question. Sorry, I've got one question. Hello. I've got one question regarding Center of Excellence. What would you say the drawback is of Center of Excellence? I mean, what's the experience has been of Center of Excellence when you did for the auditing and monitoring?
Hello,
Hello,
Jiva, are you
can
there?
you hear me? Yeah, this is Andy. You know, for you says the Center of Excellence, you said about Center of Excellence. So
Yes.
what was your, can you tell me, share your experience for like 30 seconds? What was the drawback? What's the benefit?
I think the
Jiva,
question
are
is
you
for
there?
Jiva, yeah,
Dharani?
Jiva and Dharani.
I think they are not.
Left the call.
Andy, really sorry, the speaker
Okay,
might have dropped out. I will,
okay, sorry.
sorry. Yeah, okay, sir, we can proceed.
It's okay.
Sure, sure. So, okay. Um, so it's me and Aditya Sarkar on the mic, and we both welcome you all in India Cloud Security Summit 2023. It's nice to be a part of this conference. It's really a I mean, we very rarely see a conferences where we are only concentrating on the security and the conferences are approachable to everyone. There are a lot of conferences that happens, but like not everyone can get the entry there. So I really appreciate the efforts spent by the organizers and the sponsors for make this happens. With that, let me start our session. So as I said, it's me and Aditya Sarkar. Um, we both work as a cloud security architects. Our roles are uh, implementing the security using the Microsoft suites. We work on a tools like Microsoft Sentinel, Microsoft Defender, um, and we go deep on some third-party tools as where we have expertise in setting up the environments in the setting up the SOC environment, making the integration of the Sentinel, Microsoft Defenders, and some third-party tools as well. So in nutshell, like we deal with the Azure security tools, right? So today we are gonna walk you through about the latest announcements which are made in the Microsoft Ignite and in last couple of months around the space of Microsoft Defender, right? So before we go deep into it, just just slides sharing the overview of the cyber criminals, right? How these criminals are growing every years, right? How the threat landscape is growing, how the ransomware is coming in a picture, ransomware as a service coming in a picture, right? So first of all, how this all starts is right. The companies are having a constant pressure of adopting the digital transformation because the way the technologies are growing, we all are having a pressure of adopting the digital transformation. Even now, our customer want us to make a use of the AI, ML, everything, right? And believe me, like it's not an easy thing to implement these all things without considering security, right? That's why the principle of the security by design comes in a picture. Despite of building these all digital transformations, right? A lot of investment comes in, right? And the expectations of the investor is to do a business like to grow the revenue from the very first day. And what happens if there is a small attack that happens over the company? Everything goes on a toss, right? Everything is spread in a social media. You'll see the news coming up in the picture, right? If you are leaking any user credentials or user information, any type of information, how it is projected in the media as if like the company is totally hacked or it's totally under the attack, right? And to avoid these all warranted situation, we need a robust security, right? We need a complete platform which can give us a end-to-end protections, end-to-end protection, right? Um, we are seeing the concepts of the zero trust coming in picture, right? So zero trust is a context, is a concept which says never trust, always verify, have a least privileges, right? Reduce the blast radius. So these all are conceptual, but at the end, when it comes to implement these all things, we need a tools, we need a softwares, or we need an ideation which can protect our system, right? So that's where we are coming in picture. We know Microsoft has a very robust tools like Sentinel is one of the best SIM tool over the cloud which we worked upon. We have then Defender, Defender for entire Defender suites, right? So today we will be walk you through around the announcements which are made in this domain, right? So the very first announcement which is made is Microsoft Defender 365. Now it's going to be known as a Microsoft Defender XDR, right? XDR is a extended detection and a response capabilities, right? Now, why we are calling out the term XDR, right? So now gone are the days where people will be happy or our customers will be happy when we just give them a notification about the incident, right? Now nobody wants a notifications, nobody wants an phone call over the incident. What they want is what action you are taking it and how long it's taking you to perform the operations, right? If some attack happens, or for an just an example, if we identify an user which is under the brute force attack, or uh, a user with multiple time he is rejecting the user rejecting the multiple MFAs, right? If we send out a notifications to a SOC team, right? SOC team will have their own loads, right? The way SOC team work is they have a limited engineers dealing with entire and protecting the entire infrastructure, right? In we have seen the scenarios where SOC engineers are overburdened, overloaded with the incident. So what is the ask is to do the automation, provide the comprehensive protection, right? If incident happens, how quickly you are putting up the automation there, right? These are the ask. And with this announcement, Defender XDR, we should be able to provide the extended detection and response capabilities. It's these tools will be able to protect not only the Windows, it will help you to protect your Linux workloads, Mac OS, Android, as well as the iOS, right? And the way things are working, right? Like when we are implementing the solution, it's not only about choosing the component from one particular cloud, right? It's about uh, people are adopting the hybrid infrastructure. There we have multiple clouds. We have the on-premises. We have some of the workload sitting in the Azure, or some of the workload sitting in the AWS, right? We have a vendor dependencies. So with this Defender XDR, now it has the capabilities of securing the multi-cloud environment as well as the on-premises environment, right? So the XDR solutions, coming to, like we talked about the XDR solution, just a quick definition. What is the XDR solutions? So we can call the XDR solution as something, the solutions which can help us in doing the pre and a post. Okay, so the XDR are the tools which can help in doing the pre and the post breach enterprise defense suites. You can do the analysis, like we can do the proactive analysis or a proactive hunting, or if we are unfortunate and if attack happens, right, we can do the post analysis as well, right? These tools leverages the analytics, right? Analytics is quite important, right? How the sim tools or the other tool work is, they just collect the data, right? Now it's up to you how we are implementing the rules, or how we are implementing the correlations to find out the threats, right? Like it's not only about the collecting the data. We can collect TBs of data, but the important is how we are applying the analytics, how we are doing the correlations, or how we are applying the AI and ML capabilities, and how we are fine tuning that those incidents or the alert. That's very important piece, right? So uh, with this. Like once we have these all tool available as a unified, then we will be our SOC team will be empowered with the tool that can do a lot of security detections, right? Now coming to the another announcement. So the another announcement is about the unified platform. right? So within the session, do we have someone working in the SOC, or is there someone who are part of the SOC team, Security Operations Center? Uh, let's make bit of interactive. I just wanna give some real-time example how painful is for SOC to use a different multiple tools. So is there anyone in the audience who is working as a part of? You can raise a hand. If not, I'll just give you some examples, right? Okay, no worries. Like when we work in a security operations center, it's like in certain scenarios, I have seen even the people using 2 dozens of tools, right? 20-25 tools for doing the analysis, right? The responsibilities of the SOC leads and the SOC manager is to prepare the comprehensive reports, and sometimes these report goes to the CIOs, right? There they do the track of your SOC efficiencies, right? And if the worst thing is if something happens, it all comes over the investigations or the things starts from the SOC teams. Obviously, it will go to the next level, but all the responsibilities comes at the SOC level, right? So when the SOC team works, right, like let's talk about a typical SOC, right? What they will have to do is they have to look for the incident, they have to do the hunting or a search over one particular platform. It could be any SIM platform, right? Now they want a deeper information, then they have to log into the threat intel platform, right? Although SOC is able to ingest those data, but if we have a consolidated unified platform, I just took one screenshot. I'll walk you through this screenshot. Then uh, we can have the we can have a lot of comprehensive threat detections, right? Because comprehensive feature across SIM and XDR for enhanced workflow, better results, and reduce efforts, right? Comprehensive features across SIM and XDR, they actually streamline the workflow for a better results with a less efforts, right? It's also very important how quickly the SOC is responding to the alerts, right? It's not only about identifying the alert, it's also about how you are reacting over the P1 or a P2 or a P3 incident, right? All these thing comes with their own SLAs, right? So as we know, like Sentinel is a SIM tool which is capable of identifying the threats, right? Now, what will happen is over this new unified portal, which will be known as Microsoft Defender XDR portal, Microsoft Sentinel is seamlessly integrated into this Defender portal, uh, which will actually reduce the minimizing or a toggling between the tools or a switching between the tools. Right now, the engineers or a customer can now build context focused investigations which can efficiently and expedite the incident response and accelerate the breach preventions, right? So these are the type of things which actually be helping the SOC team. Right now, if you see at this moment we don't have access over this particular tool, but we will just give you a walkthrough. So we have taken this image from certain videos that were played at the Ignite. So if you see this image, right, it's a bit I mean, a bit zoomed image, so might not be clearly visible, but I'll just try to give you a walkthrough, right? We have just one consolidated portal, right? The first thing starts with investigation and response. So this will help you in this will give you an opportunity to look into the incidents alerts, right? It'll help you the things. I mean, this particular section, I'm just hovering the mouse, will help you in dealing with the incidents which are generated over the Defender, right? Now you see we have Microsoft Sentinel available here, right? So then we have the threat intelligence available here. So that's what I was just trying to say is like we will have one particular portal, unified portal, which will allow us to do the context focused investigations as well as the robust and the easiest way, right? Here we will have the breadth of the SIM tool, the breadth analysis, which we can do it with the same tool, along with the depth of the Defender tools, right? And it's not only about one particular Defender, entire Defender suites can be utilized here, right? I have taken a couple of more pictures, right? So you see over this portal, here is this investigation and response, and we have this Microsoft Sentinel. And if you see this screenshot, the where I'm just hovering the mouse is, it's just that over this portal, even you can see the depth features, the advanced features of something like automation rules, which are part of the Microsoft Sentinel, right? So everything is available over this one particular portal, right? So I hope like with this kind of a feature, which Microsoft is providing with this unified portal, the SOC will be able to do their things in a very timely manner, right? Any question on this part? Any curiosity or anything? No? Okay. Now, everyone is hearing about the Copilot, right? What Copilot can give, what Copilot can help us, right? Uh, uh, like every feature is coming, like uh, most of the tools which are part of the Azure, right, are coming up with the feature of the Copilot, right? But before we go talking about the Copilot, let me talk about something like the typical challenges that SOC faces, right? Now, like in a real world scenario, it's very hard to to build a SOC team. We need a people, right? And the type of SOC agreement, the security operation center agreements, which we have it with the customers, like in certain scenario, we need a people covering 24/7. We need a people doing 8x5. I mean, if it's just an 8x5, uh, it's an easy thing to set up, right? But when it comes to the 24/7, then we need number of people uh, present in a particular shift to be ready for any kind of attack, right? Sometimes we lack for people, right? Like sometimes sometime what happen is like when people have to take a break, or break in the sense people have to go on a vacations or something, then it's, I mean, if you think from the SOC manager, it's really a pain point to manages the shifts and the manages the people uh, in particular shift or something, right? So that's where the advantage of security copilot is gonna come, is right. The security copilot can help the engineers in doing the research over the security manner in a very easiest way, right? If you have heard of like KQL, you might have seen like people writing the KQL query, right? But think of a scenario where you are just typing your questions, and the security copilot is building a KQL query for you, as well as providing the results. That's the advantage our people will be getting when we get access, or when we start using the tools like a security copilot, right? So what this is gonna do is like we will have something like a integrated security copilot capabilities, right? So here the security features are integrated into the unified SOC, which can be accessible from the Defender portal, from the Defender portal, right? If you see, if you see this screen here, someone has asked for a query in the security copilot, and here the query is ready, right? So it's not something like your people are spending time, because SOC also have to deal with a lot of false positive, right? Like when they deal with the SOC pilot, there is a possibility that we might be missing a true positive, right? So we need a time, and if we have enough of time, if Copilot is doing the things for us, then probably we can have a better experience, right? Now we will have something like a workflow support. So here we will be harnessing the AI security pilot, assisting analysts in handling the complex and time consuming daily workflows within the unified SOC platform. It's like you can write the copilot, I want a particular SOC efficiency report, I want an MTR or a MTD report. It'll help you in it'll help you with the data, or in fact it can help you in generating those report and directly being sent to your email, right? That's where it can be a very effective, right? It'll What it'll do is it can even do the end to end incident investigation. So Security Copilot is going to provide you support for end-to-end incident investigation, which will be offering, I mean, this offering will be so clearly described. I mean, you will have the entire attack stories and step-by-step actionable remediation guidance, right? Assume a scenario when we have an attack, right? It takes time to build a report, right? We need certain kind of hypothesis on which we can start working, right? So that's where this will come in a picture. Uh, we will have the report ready or a summary ready for it, right? It can even help us in summarizing the report, or like it'll provide us the natural language KQL hunting, right? Like if you're using the Microsoft Sentinel, it is expected from you to know a KQL, right? And dealing with the KQL is something, I mean, anyone can deal it, right? But when it comes to write the effective advanced query, it might take time, right? People have to think, people need some cool head to write down those queries. So that's where this support is, we are gonna get the support for the from the security copilot, right? So once we have this advanced defender portal, the XDR portal, we will have these all features with us. So some of the screenshots that's defining the copilot, as I explained, this is where the security copilot is helping us in generating the query. This is just an example. I have even seen the example where the users are saying isolate the machine, and security copilot is assisting them in doing the isolation, right? With this, I'm just gonna hand over to my co-speaker Aditya. So Aditya will walk you through some of the advanced features which are now available at the Defender for Endpoint, right? Over to you, Aditya. And in meantime, if someone have a question, just drop a message in the chat. We'll try to answer it.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Keshav.
Keshav.
Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
everyone.
So, okay, so as we kind of as Keshav spoke about how the XDR and the Microsoft Copilot is coming into the picture to kind of make life easy for the organization. So there are few of the enhanced features which has been introduced as part of the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, in which they have introduced the deception. So what is deception? Deception is nothing but a phenomenon where you kind of create an dummy environment which actually does not represent your real world, rather it's a kind of in a virtual world for the adversaries. So who are the adversaries here? Are the person who are trying to attack your environment. So what the deception capability within the Microsoft Defender for Cloud is doing is they are trying to build up a dummy environment which will represent similar to your real environment which you have either on Azure or any other cloud platform, and you can actually make it as a prey for the attackers, which will in turn give you a entire history of how the attack is happening, and you can actually make your environment more secure following the guidelines which would come through those correlation of the data. So here they have a concept called decoy and lures. So what decoy does is that it creates fake assets. So say you have your environment is based a container based, or your environment is a VM based environment. So it will create those fake asset of the VM. And then we have lures. Lures are the asset within the asset. So basically what you would do is you would plant either a documentation, or in the real world right now the very easy way to kind of attack any environment is the credentials. So if you are exposing your credentials, so you can use those DNS cache dump and then these virtual credentials into those assets, which will actually be an authorized environment for the adversaries, and they would try to attack that, which will give you the entire picture of how the attack path scenario is working for your organization, and where exactly you need to pinpoint to make sure that your environment is absolutely secure, and as well as it's ready to kind of take those kind of attacks. So was there any question?
No, Aditya.
Fine. So as it says, deception in Defender for Endpoint is AI powered and integrated into the system. So basically, right now, when we are talking about the AI world and AI ML algorithms everywhere, and if you go to Gartner's report, it talks about 56% of the companies have already adopted to AI ML algorithms, and around 36% of companies are kind of in a deployment phase where they have already figured out where they want to put in those AI/ML capabilities. So similarly, in this world where you do not have much time to react, so what deception does is it gives you the capability to have a shift left security. So right now, if you talk to any CISO or CIO level of people, and they are very particular in talking about shift left security, because right now the world is more to be a proactive rather than a reactive. So if you are finding an attack and then you are kind of isolating your environment, that is something kind of a reactive measure you are doing within your organization. But right now, if you have some proactive measures already in, is what the deception is doing for Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, where you are creating a virtual world where you are doing some R&D on how the type of attack can happen for your environment, and accordingly you are making an entire path or entire security guidelines which you need to follow to kind of make your environment more secure and more robust to these kind of attacks, which actually will not you will not face in case something goes wrong. So how this works is you need to go to the end. Basically, you know that right now XDR is the unified platform, and they have kind of pushed in all the Defender suits there. So you need to go to the endpoint. In endpoint you have the settings, and in settings you have deception rules, where you can create your own deception rule. With either you can use the decoy and lures which is auto generated, or you yourself can recommend what kind of configuration you want for those decoys and rules lures. So that is something they have automated. So you just need to go and create a deception rule and push it on your environment, which will automatically create a decoy and lure of that specific infra for which you have created the deception rule for. So that's what it is talking about, that Defender Endpoint facilitates automatic generation of the and deployment of authentic looking decoy and the lures. A unique feature of Defender for Endpoint is the upcoming enhancement of deception to disrupt ransomware attack and thwart advisories without SOC intervention. So now, since now you have the idea of how the attack is happening within an environment, and it is kind of a very massive lateral movement which happens from pre-ransom to ransom. So if you can see the diagram or the picture there in the slide deck, you see that the lateral movement happens from left to right. So that's where we are trying to figure out how the tools can be more capable on moving left. So you are already prepared for an attack to happen with your with your guidelines, which will actually stop the attack, and it will have lesser human intervention going forward. So that's the entire motto behind bringing this deception technique into the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, which will actually uh, keep your environment clean, as well as it will keep your environment away from any kind of unforeseen attack going forward. So, and another thing what I would like to add to it is, like, unlike other standalone deception tools, this deception tool, what Microsoft Defender for Endpoint has brought, is more seamless. Why it says more seamless is because it only takes 10 minutes for the rule to get implemented on any given infra wherever you are trying to push. So that's the time frame we are talking about of how quickly we can deploy this measures within our infrastructure. And as I said, since these decoy and lures are being created automatically, so basically you do not have to do any manual intervention, or any team does not have to go and create some dummy environment to make sure that your environment is behind the attacks. So that is what they are trying to achieve with this solution, using the deception tactics to catch the adversaries or the attackers early, before we are kind of in a reactive measure rather than proactive. So Keshav, if you can move to the next slide. The next one talks about the simplified security settings management is now generally available. So what it talks about. So previously you might be aware that there is a set of policies which you need to apply on the infra which is being monitored under the endpoint, and then you have to kind of decide on what kind of deployment you would like to go. Like if you have some Android or Windows machines, you need to go with Microsoft Intune, and for the rest of them you can have MECM and other way of deploying the policies onto those machines. So what has happened is, like, you have different platform managing different set of policies, which is actually making life difficult for the security owners or the security administrator, because they are, so say if you go and deploy a policy where you do not want any infra to be publicly exposed, so it will have a different set of policies, which it is not in sync that you have already called any sort of policies within your Defender portal which is actually doing the same job. So those kind of misconceptions, or I would say the gaps between different teams not able to communicate or coordinate with each other, is where this simplified security settings comes into the picture. So what you can do, you can go and create
Aditya,
your
we have
own.
10 more minutes.
Yeah, sure, I'll be very
We
quick.
have 10 more
um,
minutes.
yeah, thank you. So you just need to go and create the endpoint security policy, and the moment you create the endpoint security policy, you can push to the infra, and there is the option to sync the policies. So the moment you sync the policies, it will kind of sync for all the Defender tactics. So that's what it talks about, that native support for Linux, Mac OS, by removing the dependency on third-party tools, where they have their own agents which is being installed, and you can easily push those policies onto those underlying infra which is being monitored by the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. And even you do, as we had some dependencies in terms of domain joining, where we were dependent on the enter ID, is something they have already worked upon it, and they have simplified those approach as well, where you do not have to kind of do a group movement from one group to the other group with the domain joint, where you don't have to depend on the enter IDs what they have come up to. And Defender for Endpoint simplifies the creation, modification, and deployment of device security policies on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. With GA, what they have done is, like, these policies have been covered under all the um, tactics what the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint supports, is like the detection and response, antivirus exclusion, attack surface reduction, and firewalls, and whatever platform it has. And then it also gives the users to kind of sync their policies with the Defender or Intune, ensuring that all the, as I said, all the IT teams are communicating and consistent with each other, and they are not actually missing any point going forward, or they are not kind of doing a duplicate effort of securing an infra, rather than they have a one set of policies or one set of security guidelines which they are following. So Keshav, if you can move to the next slide. So now eBPF. So eBPF or extended Berkeley packet filter. So previously, when we used to when there would be a sensor for the Linux based machines, we all the logs from those log sources would come through audit D. So since this audit D is widely used within an entire and cloud environment, and there is a lot of logs kind of fed into the different security suites you are using within the Microsoft environment. That's the reason why they have come up with this extended Berkeley packet filter. So what the basic requirement it fulfills is that it gives you the capability to parse your logs, so you don't have to make too much of noise. So as Keshav was talking about, it's a very limited team with which you are handling your entire SOC, so you don't want to bombard your entire SOC with lots of false positive alerts from different log sources. So to make it more streamlined within your Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, and make sure that whatever incident which is being raised are actually a quality analyzed incidents. So for that itself, they have kind of introduced this extended Berkeley packet filter, which will be available for the version which is mentioned on the deck. And this is the version which will automatically enable you with this eBPF filter, and you can actually parse those kind of logs which you want within your SOC environment to raise an incident for. So that's the major requirement which this eBPF filter kind of fulfills for your Microsoft for the sensors which has been deployed on the Linux in order to scan through the Defender for Endpoint. So if we can go to the next slide. So now, just to conclude what we kind of understood, or what we kind of discussed as of now is if yeah, thank you, Keshav. So if we want to kind of conclude what exactly we are targeting our tool to provide, or what is the basic criteria where we would say that okay, this is the tool which kind of fulfills my success criteria, and this is something I would definitely require. So right now, in the world of where you have trillions of data coming in on these tools, you need to have AI capability of the tool to kind of analyze those logs. So get, in order to analyze those logs and kind of take an action to it, you need to have an innovative AI driven security. That's what it is talking about, and this is what Microsoft has already recognized and already kind of working in to put in more AI feed data, so that the manual intervention actually reduces, and they can actually give you the final output saying that this is something you need to you must have, and these are the some few of the things or security guidelines which is good to have, or even if you do not have, it would not kind of affect your environment. Then you have empowering defense highlights. So what it says that the XDR completely explains that you should have a single pane of glass, because as we see, there are hundreds of tools in the market which is giving 100 types of solutions. So if you kind of make your SOC team move on to different tools and then correlate the data, that's a nightmare, I would say, and a Herculean job to kind of fulfill by any SOC team. So that's where the comes the picture, where you want to have a single pane of glass where the SOC team will go and can easily correlate the data with different log sources, and then they can decide that this is something they need to kind of take action for, and then they need to remediate it. Then you have extended detection, as I said, the XDR. It's the comprehensive view of the entire threat landscape you are getting on a single pane of glass, and you are working on it. Then you have compliance and control center. So I was talking about the simplified setting capability of the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, so that you do not have to move on to Microsoft Intune and then put some policies there and some policies here, and then you are not on sync. So those kind of control center is what they are trying to build through these enhancement, and then commitment of on to ongoing improvement. So basically, if you want to stay alive in the market with your tool, a regular continuous innovation is something which will always drive you and will always keep you uh, against the odds. So basically, that's the major thinking behind putting in these measures, where they are evolving their tools according to what the market is talking about. So as I said, they have AI capabilities and other capabilities which is coming into the market, and people are aware of how much capable those AI ML algorithm are. That's what they want those to be part of their Microsoft Defender for Endpoint as well, to make sure that the user intervention or the manual intervention is absolutely less, as much as less possible, and they can actually make their entire SOC team more efficient, and they need to work on what need to be worked right away. So
Right.
that's where I would like to kind of close the session for.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Aditya, and thanks a lot to Pramal for being a moderator. We just have 1 minute left, so in case if someone have a question, feel free to ask. In meantime, we'll give an opportunity for the other speaker to start presenting the screen. Thanks a lot to everyone.
Thank you guys, thank you everyone for joining in.